Let me ask y'all a question. Has Black Lives Matter become Black Lives Better? Has it? Are there voices within the movement that are advocating for black supremacy? We we listen to voices that were advocating for a black ethno state. I mean, what is that other than black supremacy? That's kind of weird. When white people do that, it's seen as a white supremacist thing and a problem. But when black people do that, it's not a problem? Yeah. Anyway, Terry Crews got himself into some hot water by saying that, look, warning, he doesn't want Black Lives Matter to morph into Black Lives Better. I think that's a clear warning. I think that's a warning we can all understand. We've seen what's happening. You've seen what's happening in the pictures and the videos. You don't have to even look at the Black Lives Matter website to see what they're really advocating for has little to do with black lives. You can just look at the videos and the images from the riots, from the protests, even the protests. Because in those images, you'll have angry white people and black people yelling and using racial slurs at black police officers, because they don't care. You also see them being in the face of other black people that, try to be vocal about spreading awareness that there's other factors, other voices that seem to have like ill intent in the movement. If Black Lives Matter is about police brutality and saving black lives from police brutality, then why are they killing their own? Why are they burning black businesses? Why are more black people have died this year in the hands of Black Lives Matter, through Black Lives Matter protests and riots, than they did by officers? I mean, you can verify that. You can verify that, especially if you look at unarmed black people. I think more innocent lives have been lost in that. There's been kids that have been killed in places that are completely lawless, that have no police presence, because guess what? They're getting it. Abolish the police is coming. You got it. The blue flu's here. The police are so demoralized, they're not even do their job even if they could. You got it. You got it. You have in Atlanta and other cities where you have BLM, Black Lives Matter people doing checkpoints. Why are they doing checkpoints? Are they like why is that happening? Why should that happen? The police should clear that up. They do clear it up, but they just come back. You know what happens too at those checkpoints? People get threatened. People get assaulted. People get killed. And it's happened. Anyway, I want to play this clip with Don Lemon talking, which Don Lemon, CNN is garbage. Okay? Let's play this. Ready?
It's not that way. This is the thing, Don. Black people need to hold other black people accountable. I said this the same.
And that is true. That is very true. I mean, and that's the reason why I'm so vocal about this. Is because, look, I get it. Black lives matter. I get that on surface level. I agree on that. But here's the thing. If you tell me Black Lives Matter, then Black lives should matter all the way. That means when your own kin start killing your own kin, which happens, you can't turn a blind eye to it. When you do, you're being ignorant. You're just putting your head in the sand. You're playing make-believe. And it's dangerous. It's very dangerous. You got to hold your own accountable. You got to. Otherwise, what's going to happen is you'll get abolishment of the police, and then what you're going to have are gangs roaming the place, killing, raping, and assaulting. You like that? You want that? Because that's what's happening. That's what's happening now. Black Lives Matter. I would be full on support of that. I would wear a Black Lives Matter shirt if they just went all the way and actually addressed all the issues that really affect the lives of black people, that really affect the lives. I know this sounds weird because I'm a white guy talking about this. What do I know? Terry Crews talks about this and he gets himself in trouble. So it's not just a race thing. It's about if you speak out about it, if you question Black Lives Matter, they come after you. Anyway.
Same thing. This is the Black America's version of the Me Too movement. If anything is going to change, we ourselves need to look at our own communities and look at each other and say, this thing cannot go down. And this is the thing, too. There are a lot of great, great people there who are.
Okay, I never really watched CNN or Don Lemon. Like, the way his mouth is like this. Does Don Lemon really do that all the time? That's so weird. Who does that? That's what it looks like. Or is that just a lip? That might just be his lip. I don't know. I can't tell.
Held hostage, who are held hostage by people who literally are running these neighborhoods with violence and then claiming that Black Lives Matter. When you
yes, and that's what's actually happening. It's not just Atlanta. It's in New York. It's in LA. It's in Chicago. It's in, really, hate to tell you, but the pattern's there. It's in just about every Democrat-run city. It really is. It really is. Look at it. Look at it. And what is the mayor? What is the governor doing about it? Nothing. Very little. Maybe eventually they'll go, we'll send in the National Guard. But when they do, the National Guard is cucked. No ammo. Can't do anything. You're just there for presents. Okay. We'll see how long that lasts. But you have these people unelected, and you can't hold them accountable because there's no organization. When a cop does something wrong, you can hold them accountable. You can't hold them accountable. Now, some people will question, can you really? You can. You can hold them accountable. And guess what? Hey, the Republicans are trying to pass a reform bill that would actually make it easier to hold them accountable. But the Democrats, instead of trying to work with Republicans and say, add this to it, they just said no and then denied the whole thing. And you might have been told, and you might believe that the bill did very little, but you're wrong. Because I'll tell you why. I'll show you that in another video. We're going to go through that bill, and I'll show you exactly what it does, what it was going to do. And if the Democrats had any problems with it, instead of just throwing the baby out with the bathwater, why don't you add some ideas to it, right? Work together. But instead, what's really going on is they want this problem to last for the whole fucking year. And that's the truth. If you can't accept that, you're ignorant. What else can I tell you? Because what else is it? Because the alternative would be they could work with Republicans and make a bill that actually works, right? But instead of working with them, they say no and shut up, and then call it, they say some names. Look, it is, but I'll do that in another video. Anyway, back to Black Lives Matter.
Look at the parents of these little kids who are saying, hey, man, why aren't they speaking up for me, too? And this is what I'm saying.
Right? Okay, and that kind of reminds me of what I was talking about. So, yeah, you can hold police accountable, but you can't hold these thugs that wear Black Lives Matter shirt and do, like, Black Power stuff. You can't hold them accountable. You cannot hold them accountable at all. At all. And they may kill your kid at one of these checkpoints. Or, I don't know, they're in their own version of policing. Okay? We've seen that happen already in Seattle. We've seen that happen already in Seattle. It's funny. In Seattle, when Chaz, they're trying to abolish the police, right? That's the thing. They're trying to abolish the police. But the brutality that they exercise on these kids that they killed, these unarmed kids, was savage and brutal. Way worse than what happened to George Floyd. Way worse than what happened to George Floyd. If that's the version of policing they want, we are all fucked.
When I look at this whole thing about, it's about who is controlling the narrative. It's got to be all Black Lives Matter. And what's happened is that because I even challenged it, because I even questioned and warned.
Don Lemon's program is just, I can talk now.
Okay, Terry.
I became sick. Like if I told you to wear a mask,
but Terry,
okay, here comes Don Lemon's hot take. How dumb you think it's going to be?
kick you out.
You're a high profile person. You're writing things out there. You know you're going to get backlash. You know people are going to respond to what you're saying on Twitter. So I don't think you should be surprised by that. I have a
Yeah, I'm not surprised that people are idiots too. You know, that happens.
skin as tough as an armadillo because of what I do. And
No, Don Lemon's skin is not tough as an armadillo. There's no way. He's a fucking cuck. He's a fucking soy boy. What? Don Lemon is a fucking soy boy.
I think maybe you should adapt that. But here's
Terry Crews is stronger than Don Lemon. Come on now. Come on.
here's what I have to say. The Black Lives Matter movement was started because it was talking about police brutality. If you want an all Black Lives Matter movement,
Did it? Did it though? Did it really?
that talks about gun violence,
Trayvon Martin, right? Black Lives Matter was in response to Trayvon Martin, right? He wasn't killed by a cop. He was killed by a neighbor. I guess a neighborhood watch. I guess you say that. I guess you say it's kind of close to a cop, but not really a cop. And it was a Hispanic male. It wasn't a white guy. But he looked so white. I guess he could be white. And that's how they argue it, right? So he didn't say Black Lives Matter is about police brutality. So it's not about any of these other things, like abolishing the police completely. Like abolishing the courts, having everyone retried. Oh God, that'd be horrible. Like, how do you do that? How do you do that? Getting cops out of schools, because I guess they want more school shootings, because that's how you get school shootings. Yeah, not things that are gonna help. No, not at all. Anyway,
in communities, including Black communities, then start that movement with that name. But that's not what Black Lives Matter is about. It's not an all-encompassing. So if you're...
It should be. With Black Lives Matter, it sounds like you're encompassing all Black lives matter. It sounds very all-encompassing right there. You're literally saying Black Lives Matter, meaning all. You're not saying some. You're not saying kind of. You're saying Black Lives Matter.
You're talking about... If someone started a movement that said cancer matters, and then someone comes in and said, why aren't you talking about HIV? It's not the...
Oh my God, that's horrible, because now it's a cancer matter movement. If you're saying Black Lives Matter and you want to, sure, talk about police brutality, but you never talk about the innocents that are taken by your own kind, by your own kin, then you're hypocrites. You're fucking hypocrites, and you're looking the other way, turning a blind eye. You could talk about things and try to promote programs that can actually help the Black community. You could do that. But instead, what happens is they ask for abolishing the police as if that's going to help, when we see that is not going to help at all. And they ask to abolish the police because they claim police are systematically killing Black people. Guess who else is systematically killing Black people? Black people. And that's provable. You could prove that. You know what? I'll say Black Lives Matter when the people that say Black Lives Matter actually believe that Black Lives Matter. Look at that. It's ridiculous.
The same thing. We're talking about cancer. So the Black Lives Matter movement is about police brutality and injustice in that manner.
They call it the police brutality movement, you dumb fuck. Man, Don Lemon is an idiot.
Not about what's happening in Black neighborhoods. There are people who are working on that issue, and if you want to start that issue, why don't you start it? Do you understand what I'm saying?
But when you look at the organization, police brutality is not the only thing they're talking about.
I know that, but I agree, but that's not what the Black Lives Matter...
See, he just said, look, the Black Lives Matter is not just about police brutality. And Don Lemon just said, I know that, but it started like that. Don Lemon, are you a fucking idiot? Are you fucking brain dead? Like, what happened? I don't get it. How can you be that much of a fucking moron? God damn, he's a fucking piece of shit.
Movement is about, Terry. Black Lives Matter is about police brutality and about criminal justice. It's not about what happens in...
So it's not about Marxism? It's not about tearing down all the statues, even Frederick Douglass. It's not about tearing down all the statues, even of those that are abolitionists. Come on, man. Are you? Don Lemon's such a fucking moron.
In communities, when it comes to crime, black on black crime, people who live near each other, black people
Look at this
kill each
real
other.
petite
Same as
can.
whites. 80-some% of white people
very
are
gay.
killed by white people
True.
because of
Very petite.
proximity.
Very true.
It's the same thing with
Like
black
basic bitch
people.
petite.
That
Sound like
happens
Don
in
Lemon.
every single
I just have to
neighborhood.
It's very much.
But that
like
doesn't,
Don Lemon.
again, I'm not saying that's not important that those kids died, but it's a different movement.
Listen, I understand what you're saying. I totally understand. It is about police brutality. That should never be accepted.
Yeah.
I am not saying that that's not it, but there's more there.
Okay.
And when I look at, if they have more on their agenda, we need to ask them about what else is on that agenda.
Right.
Other
Right. Especially when it's stuff like, we want our own land. We want the government to carve us our own land. That's happened. You can see that video I did of that. I think I caught it NFAC, Black Power, something of those lines. Definitely check out that video. Hey, if you made it this far, thank you so much. Press the like button, share, subscribe. I'm getting very vocal about this stuff. You know, I do want to talk about horror. But you know, this is the real horror show that we live in right now, and I just talk about that stuff. Anyway, you guys have a good one.